The losses are pretty small besides this one on coin, right?
That was after earnings as well, and that one got me. That one burned me, but I was able to just keep my head down and come back the next day and recover and continue.
Welcome everybody to another funded trader of Trade a Pool. Today Chris is with me, a new funded trader trading the $200,000 of buying power. Thanks for coming, Chris.
Thank you for having me, and definitely thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing. We appreciate you trading with us and came to share the knowledge with the guys at home that listening. You know, you're trading $200,000 of buying power. Tell us a little bit about that. How does it feel?
It feels great. I definitely focus more on larger cap stocks, and those are on the bigger volatility situations or news events. They're the bigger movers, and so and they're more predictable for me. So I like to focus more on the larger cap. So the 200,000 buying power definitely has an advantage to be able to trade those stocks, and gives it definitely more opportunities.
Is it something that you used to on your personal account? You also trading large cap and with that size?
I do. I don't have quite the same buying power on my personal accounts. In the past, I've started with options, and leaning more towards trading more and more actual stocks and shares these days. And so I was always trading those larger cap stocks with options, but I definitely want to focus more on shares now. So that definitely helps with.
And you said something very interesting. That for you, the large caps are more predictable, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something that I hear a lot from our funded traders that actually shorting penny stocks, for example, or small caps, and they say there is a pump and there will be a dump. Why do you see the large cap that are more predictable for you?
Well, I've definitely traded a few of the smaller caps and lower float stocks, and I've played a few of the pumping up situations, and sometimes they can work for you, but then if they get a surprise news event, they can just rocket on you 10, 20, 30% and pitch you underwater pretty fast. Larger caps, 10, 12% is a pretty strong move, and anything outside of that is a high deviation move. So my bread and butter setups, they work better on the large caps because their moves are somewhat contained compared to smaller cap and lower float stocks for me.
And what are the setups that you're looking for in most days?
I mainly look for outsized moves, either on the long or short side, into strong resistance levels, gap fills, trend lines, things like that. And then I like to wait for either a positive divergence or a negative divergence setup, making new highs or new lows, and take advantage of those opportunities. And those seem to have pretty high success rate for me when I try to be patient and work and wait for those setups to play out.
Yeah, we'll get to your dashboard in a second, but I saw almost 72% success rate, which is fairly strong. And so you're looking for diversions, basically, if I'm getting it right, new highs.
On a stock that's moving up, looking for new highs with lower relative strength in a negative MACD divergence. Okay. And things like that to kind of show that the move's being exhausted. And this is opposite for a downside move, looking for linear lows with positive divergences. And those have, from over my years of watching and trading stocks, those setups have been really working out well for me.
Yeah, that's actually similar to what I do. Are you trading a 1 minute chart or off of 5?
So I kind of watch the 10 and 15 minutes for the big exhaustion move, and then I'll watch the 1 minute. That'll give me the good divergence setup to enter the trade, and then you can see a reversion back to 15 minutes moving averages, and they seem to play out roughly 60-70% of the time or so.
And how important are the news when it comes to trading large cap? Are you mostly trading the same stocks like Tesla, Amazon, Big Seven, or you looking for?
I kind of stay away from Tesla. That one's burned me too many times in the past. So, I try to stay away from it. But all the other large caps, Amazon, Google, let's see, recently been trading AMD and semiconductor stocks. So they've kind of been more the big movers here lately. So yeah, mostly large caps if they're making the right moves and the right setups.
Nice. So I'm going to share my screen and show your dashboard. For those of you not familiar, every trader gets his own dashboard and you can track your stats and see the progress. Let's see. Okay, I think this is the one. Okay, so $200,000 buying power, which is quite a lot to do some damage in the market with. You need to reach, this is the evaluation, you need to reach 6%, which is 12,000. $8,000 on the max loss and a daily pause of 4,000. Do you like the fact that you have a daily pause? Do you say it helped you or not?
Yeah, the daily pause, definitely. So for my strategy, I don't go in full position on my first trade. I'll start with a starter position, leave room to scale into it. And a few times that has gone against me for the daily pause with the scale in. So I think that's there for a good thing to just go ahead and cap that max loss. And if it went against me that bad, it wasn't a good trade to begin with. So I'll go ahead and cap that loss there and start over the next day. And with the 200,000 buying power, you can if you hit a max loss day, you can recoup it really quickly on in a good market. So yeah, I like it.
Nice. And it took you only like 7-8 days to pass the evaluation.
Yeah, it was a very good time and a good market at the period when I started this one.
How many evaluation did you try before?
This was my third one. My second one, I came very close, and then just had a string of a few losers, and just kind of stacked up. But I think I got a little too aggressive on those, so I kind of scaled it back and pared it back a little bit, and tried to be a little more patient on them, and it worked out well.
Yeah. So a little bit about the numbers here. Like I said, the almost 72% success rate, which is high. Almost 1-to-1 on the risk reward. I guess on this one we can always try to push a little bit higher for this. And let's look at some of the trades that you made. And as you said, you're mostly scaling into the position. Actually, it sounds like very familiar to what I'm doing as well. So I like the fact that you're trading large caps, scaling in, building a position, not going, swing for the fences and trying to hit a home run. It's actually, besides that fall that you had here, like this pullback, other than that, you're pretty stable, pretty consistent. So, for example, those stocks that we're watching right now, those symbols, how did you find them? I mean, why did you decide on that day to trade Shopify, for example?
I believe Shopify was an after earnings play. It had a big gap up. I think it was 20% of those. So for that particular stock, that was a pretty outsized move, and it was moving into pretty key resistance levels and gap fills. So it looked like a very good opportunity. I just kind of waited for my my divergence or negative divergence setup to play out, and then once I kind of recognized that pattern, a negative divergence pattern, I took a trade on it, and it's worked out in my favor.
Nice. And I'm looking at the trades. I see good numbers here of 1,500, and the losses are pretty small. Besides this one on coin, right? Downside.
Yeah, that was after earnings as well, and it just made a very outsized high sigma move. So that one got me, that one burned me, but I was able to just keep my head down and come back the next day and recover and continue.
Nice stats here as well. Mostly short side. You got 41, long 29, so pretty decent, and profit factor almost 3, an hour and a half of holding time. That's also good. What do you think when you've been? We talked about it before the recording. You've been trading for 5 years now, right? what do you do in order to improve? Let's say you see all your stats here, you watch the trades. What actually you need to do in order to improve that stat?
I like, on good days and bad days, I will, go back to the charts and look at my entries and then compare that to, what the chart was saying at that time. And then just try to analyze, was that a good decision, bad decision, kind of try to compare that to some other chart patterns. And I always just try to review, the trades that I made to kind of see what, things I can improve on, or the mistake that I made, and try to, learn from that and go forward.
And did you see, when going over those and journaling everything, did you see anything that you can do in order to improve for example, the risk reward when we're looking at almost 1-to-1?
Let's see. Yeah, that's a good question. That's something that I could, definitely do some more studying on, and more research on. I think on some of those trades, my setup, wasn't there, and I just kind of went on, saying that, all right, into a good level, but then also the divergence setup wasn't there yet. So I try to look for, at least two different factors to make a trade, and I think when I go back, there's only maybe one factor there. So I think that kind of leads to a lower, risk reward whenever,
Yeah.
the complete setup's not there. So.
Got it. Amazing, Chris. I appreciate that you're sharing all this knowledge. Alrighty. So, from here, the only thing I can wish you obviously is success. I already saw your funded account. You're already up like $2,000. Am I right?
Yeah, roughly 2,000.
Yeah.
So far.
You had a rough start, or actually you started well, but then again, you had this nice pullback, finding your rhythm now. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, let's see that. Was on Tuesday, I believe, after the CPI report, and there was, a pop and a big sell-off, and then a retrace back to the pop, and it, looked like a good negative divergence setup, and I thought there was going to be another reversal, to the downside, because it looks like the markets are starting to get a little exhausted to the upside, and
Yeah.
oftentimes, markets can sell off on good news and positive news when it comes to exhaustion moves. But it didn't quite play out. It was kind of just a grind to the upside that day, and some of my short positions just kept going against me, and had to take the loss that day.
Yeah, and you can see also on that day, actually, you have one trade on SOXS, which is 12,000 shares, and 4,000 on the UVXY, and this is,
Yeah.
Comparing it to the other trades that you made, where they a little bit more solid, and the numbers are lower on the quantity, the number of shares. This is something that's screaming something is off, right?
Right. Yeah. I should have just cut the cord a little bit earlier on that day, but it looked like the reversal was going to happen at some point. It just never did. So
Nice.
I think I had to add several times to the SOX position. So
Yeah.
at that point, just recognize that it's not working out. Just cut the cord a little bit earlier and come back the next day.
I like the fact that you bounced back from it pretty nicely. Success rate is still high, 63.4%. Risk reward on the 1-to-1. You're getting closer to the payout, so it will be amazing. Just a few more days. Continue to do what you do and get your first payout, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep grinding away. I definitely want to build that buffer in the account before I start taking any sizable payouts. Try to just give myself a little bit of that cushion, because worked hard enough to get to this point, to the funded phase. So I just want to keep my best foot forward to keep moving, and hopefully make this a long-term thing with Trade the Pool, because I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity. So it's been great.
Yeah, thank you. Alrighty, Chris, thanks so much again for sharing everything. And the guys that want to check us out, go to tradethepool.com. We'll be in touch. See you on the next video.
All right, great. Thank you.
Take care.